I have a save a hoe
Cause you
complex.
know them hoes don't want to be saved.
This is like, I see a hoe, I want to save them. Like, that ain't my job. That's Jesus's job.
Welcome to Hey Awesome Girl with Tivi Jones. Every week we interview amazing boss babes in tech, medicine, law, entrepreneurship, entertainment, parenting, and more. About their lives, their goals, their why, in order to discover how every day they're working to add more pleasure, ease, and abundance in their orbits. Ooh! Hold up. We gotta unpack that. This show is part business advice, part life coaching, part real talk with girlfriends. See how she be coaching me? If you're looking for a show that's real and relatable, but also inspiring at the same time, this is the one for you. I'm your host, Tivi Jones. I am founder and CEO of the creative agency Hey Awesome Girl. I'm dog mom to the cutest little doggo on earth, Olivia, who is under my chair right now. And I'm someone who once grew a mini farm on her apartment patio. In this episode, you'll meet Joye Speight, who is Chief Event Designer with Virtue Events. We're digging into how to build a successful business and community build at the same time, how to get clear on your why, how to connect your mastery to your legacy. The point Joye made on that is stuck with me forever. It's a really funny and inspiring and real episode, so I hope you'll enjoy it. Ready to watch? Let's go! Hey Joye, welcome to the show!
Hey, boo, hey.
Hey boo, hey. I'm so excited to have you.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Let's start with just the basics, right? Like, obviously, you and I know each other. We were, prepping before we started recording and just kind of catching back up and cracking our jokes as we do. But for anyone who isn't aware of who you are and what you do, please give them like the elevator pitch for Joye Speight.
Okay, here's where we differ because you are nice and coached up and I am super raw.
Okay. We're coming in hot. Okay.
You're coming in hot. So, Joye Speight. Hi, everyone. 25 years as an event planner and event designer, certified in wedding planning, meeting planning, crisis management, and logistics. I own Virtue Events, which is an event production company that specializes in all of those things: weddings, conferences, retreats. We pretty much can produce any type of event that you can imagine, with the exception of like the Oscars. Okay, I'm not there yet.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna, pull an old school Kanye because a bitch could plan the Oscars. I've seen your work.
I could. I don't know that I want to.
Okay. That's valid. That's valid. Okay,
Yeah,
proceed.
yeah,
My
I
bad.
could. I don't know. I also have other businesses. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I have Virtuous Lifestyles, which is a luxury candle line. I also have a mask company that we started during COVID, which really doesn't require much of me, but that's a family entity. I'm also a part of my family legacy, which dates all the way back to Black Wall Street in Durham, North Carolina. And that is based around Speight's Auto Service, which is about 86 years being in business. And then just recently dissolved my partnership in an event venue called Suite 4 in Durham, North Carolina. So I kind of can do everything. I am referred to as a fixer. People call me for everything. And I'm able to connect people and build relationships. Yeah.
You do a lot of stuff.
Tired yet? Me too.
Yeah. And I can attest because we've known each other for what, 10 years? Just about, almost,
Just about.
maybe.
Mm-hmm. Just about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for 10 years, you've been telling me what to do. And for 10 years, I've been avoiding.
Oh, oh, let me add it to my notes to bring this
Damn it.
up so the people can keep us honest.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
What I was gonna say, I wasn't even gonna bring up the fact that sometimes you don't listen to me, because what I was gonna say is that sometimes I don't listen to you. Like,
Mhm,
when you
mhm.
said you were a fixer, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely Joy. I've definitely come to her with some issues, some problems, some challenges, and she's definitely given some very good advice that sometimes I don't listen to.
Yeah.
And then I had to come back like,
Mhm,
I didn't do
mhm,
this thing that
uh-huh.
you told me.
And I probably told you were being an asshole to yourself. Yeah. That's my
Let
line, people. Don't be an asshole to yourself. All right, we're done here. You can close
quotable.
it.
It's done. The show is over. That's it. You've reached the climax.
Mhm.
That's all you
Done.
need to know is don't be an
Message.
asshole to yourself. Hold up,
Right.
hold up, hold up. I don't have my reggae air horn, so I might have to do it with my voice, but don't be an asshole to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about right.
Ah, yes, definitely a fixer. I've seen your business grow, evolve, change over the years. Talk
Mm.
to me a little bit about. Let's start with wins. Um,
Mm.
Only because I don't want to, like, not because I want to end on a low note, but because I feel like a lot of times in this social media world that we live in, people are always doing their highlight reel. And for me as an entrepreneur, I know it's not all sunshine and rainbows and fairy tales. It's some
Facts.
real shit. So I do want to like have more time for the challenges and how you overcame those challenges. But let's start by hyping ourselves up. Like, let's remind us why we bad. What are some of the biggest wins in your career?
In my career. All right. So,
So 25 years, please. 30 seconds.
oh,
I'm
okay.
joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. Not 30 seconds.
Um, Biggest wins in my career are taking concepts and executing them, and actually bringing a concept that is just written down on paper or in my client's mind all the way to execution. And an example of that would be probably one of the prides of my heart, which is Art of Cool Festival, and where we took, which is how I met Tivi. We took a concert that cost $600 at an art gallery and reimagined it into a festival that focused on jazz and emerging artists and preserving the culture of our music and bringing it into Durham, which eventually led to a citywide with over 10,000 people. Um, you didn't tell me that. You got warn and jeez. Okay. Sorry, guys. But
That was
welcome.
just cheering
Yeah,
for what
love
you've
it.
done.
So that was a highlight. We did that for 5 years until the festival sold. A second highlight would be 2021, getting tapped on the shoulder for the Biden Harris campaign to come to Durham.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
I was like,
um,
hold up, you didn't tell me. And then I was like, wait, you did.
uh-huh. Yeah. 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 Well, President Biden, it was supposed to be Kamala Harris, Kerry Washington, Cory Booker, all of them came to Durham and met with, small business owners, got to know the community. And I didn't even know I was being considered. I was written into a grant just off of a Facebook post that I had made about
Wow.
our event venue and what we were trying to do. So that was a highlight for me. And then I would say third, I'm skipping like gaps, but I would say third
Yeah.
would be the work that we did at Suite 4, where ultimately we took in a space that had been sitting empty for 3-4 years and made six figures from it. By the whole baseline was to create community, build relationships, and to highlight hospitality professionals that were coming from marginalized communities. So
Mm,
caterers, bartenders, we put a lot of people to work during the pandemic. And in the process, that being the focus, in the process, made six figures, and it
mm.
was a beautiful thing. So those are really my wins.
I want to dig into, I wish we had time to dig into all of them, but I really want to dig into a couple things. One, the idea of building a successful business while community building at the same time. Talk to me about that experience and just what that taught you about work and abundance in business.
So it is not for the faint at heart. First of all, um, I think it's important. I think it's important for every entrepreneur to be so crystal clear on their why, that even when times get hard, like
Mm,
literally that's the purpose of the why. And you know, even being in events for 25 years, um there was a time, I would probably say easily the first 15 years, where it was just about making money for myself and learning the craft and mastering the craft. And at some point it gets to a place where that's an empty place. It gets
mm,
to a point where like the money is just not enough, the clients just aren't doing it for you. And so at that point I made the decision to connect my mastery with my legacy and
mm,
fuse the two together. And my mastery is in bringing people together and building people, and the tool by which I do that is just through events. My legacy is in economic development, equity, inclusion, and community building. And that's
mhm,
from my family legacy of stemming back to Black Wall Street. And so doing one without the other left me unfulfilled.
mm,
And so once I fused the two together, um, it became more fulfilling for me to do the work, even when it
mm,
got hard.
mhm,
And so I would say to that, those that are either just starting out or those that are in kind of their second wave of business, things have gotten stale. They're not quite sure whether or not they want to pivot, keep the business, or, chuck it up and
mm,
say, I don't want to do this anymore. You need to ask yourself this question. And the question is, what are you doing to impact your community? And when you figure out what that is, right? Or if it's non existent at all, then you need to then draw the parallel back to your why.
mm,
And if the two don't meet, then it's probably time to reevaluate. If the two meet, it's worth doing the hard work to sit down and think it through and re-strategize. And for me, building community was always easy because I believe in treating people the way that I want to be treated, and I believe that everybody is worth it.
mm.
Period. And there are some people that prove me wrong every step of the way. Um, but I can at least go to bed at night knowing I was consistent as a mug, like my friends say.
Okay.
Consistent as a mug. I was honest and authentic and actually trying to help someone. Now, again, keeping in mind, community building isn't a one size fits all. Everybody is in a different
Correct.
stage of their journey. And
Mhm,
so that means that there are some people who will perceive your help as help. And then there are
mhm,
others that will perceive your help as a threat. And
Mm-hmm.
it's important to be able to navigate that when you come to it, because perception is king. And some people don't want to really address their they don't want to address their position as it relates to community as a whole. Um, and that essentially means that if I think I'm doing good and you come and tell me, uh, actually, you're not doing good, and here's
Mm-hmm.
why.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of it takes a very mature and humble person to be like, let me evaluate it, even though it doesn't feel good for you to tell me I'm
Right.
not doing what I think is right.
Is right. Yeah.
Let me let me step back and at least hear them out and see, where they're coming from,
Right.
versus me being like, nope, I am doing it. I'm doing it right. And being a part of a larger system of systemic oppression.
How do you deal with that? I mean, I obviously we know each other personally, and we've been in certain circles. We obviously, Hey Awesome Girl works in equity work as well. You and I have worked together on equity projects.
Hmm.
Like, how do you deal with that? Because as you mentioned earlier, being humble is a core part of equity. Like you got to be humble, you got to be nimble.
Yeah.
How do you give us some tactics on how to like deal with folks who, maybe I don't want to say people have too much ego. Maybe
Hmm.
I should. I don't know, but just how do you navigate those experiences?
Yeah, it is hard, and it is not one size fits all at all.
Mm,
It is hard work because ultimately, in order to work in any type of diversity, inclusion, equity, economic development work,
mhm.
you literally have to get to the point where you are not only a strategist, but that you are
A therapist.
literally a therapist, conflict, know how to navigate
Mhm.
conflict, because in the reality of things, it is not black and white, it is gray.
Mhm.
And without you knowing, and or allowing the other party to share their perspective, if you don't allow that exchange of ideas and perspectives, you very well not, and not to say you're a bad person, can get
Mhm.
stuck in thinking that your way is the only way.
Right.
Period, point blank. When to be very honest with you, the value and the beauty of having these types of exchanges is to literally coordinate ideas and say, oh, actually, you bring up an interesting point. I could change it to this and increase the impact if the goal is the same. And
Mhm.
so keeping people on target for like, here's the goal, people. Let's make sure that we're hitting the goal. Now, how we get to the goal can be worked out, the processes, the systems, yada, yada, yada. Literally, every argument, every issue is not necessarily going to be about the goal. It's going to be about the
Mm.
systems and the processes to get to the goal.
Mm.
And so when you think about that and you think about, all right, here's the goal, the very first thing that you should do, that I recommend from my experience, is brainstorm and outline every person that is at the table what their definition of getting to the goal looks like.
Mm. Mhm.
Period. Before we have another conversation, what
Mhm.
does Tivi's version of getting to this goal look like versus what Joy's version of getting to this goal looks like? Once you do that, then you can actually step out a little bit further, get a little bit more general, and just quickly brainstorm what some of the objections, what some of the pitfalls, what some of the roadblocks will be. And
Mhm.
at that point, then you can address those. before you take another step into the process, because those will present their own set of issues and
Mm-hmm.
challenges on their own. But ultimately, if you do those two layers, you then at least have some form of understanding as to,
Mm-hmm.
all right, Joy's version of getting to the goal is to do this. Tivi's
Mm-hmm.
version to get to the goal is to do this. So anytime I speak, it is with that filter, not a
Right.
filter of me attacking how you want to get to the goal. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, to boil it down, and I know you've heard this expression before, us both being from the South, getting on one accord. That's that's the root of it. And then also just allowing space
Mhm.
to hear each other and
Yeah.
and have understanding versus, approaching it with you in the center. You
Mhm.
approach it with the goal and the intentions within the center of the
Mhm.
relationship.
There's one more thing I would like to share as a tactic,
Hmm.
and that is you got to communicate.
Yeah.
The minute there is a break in communication, once you, again, being a part of those first layers of brainstorming and conversation, the third step would be to delegate and actually outline what the communication strategy looks like. How
Hmm.
often are we communicating? How often do we need to, create a task list and deliverables, and what is the expectation with that? The minute that communication breaks down, whole project can go to.
Yeah, I
And so,
mean,
yeah,
project, relationship,
oh, all of
like
it,
what you
partnership, all of it.
outlined,
Yeah,
anytime you're in relationship with people, I would
yeah,
say, whether that's business, friendships, romantic relationships, if you don't have that core foundation of working towards the same thing,
that's
and then
right.
the understanding of the process with which we get to that same thing, and then the
Hmm.
layering on the communication, like
Yeah,
it's a wrap.
yep,
But
yep.
but we don't start off that way. Like I know you came out the womb a fully formed human and floating on a cloud like Buddha or something. I mean, I know that about you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But for people who didn't start off that way, like how do you get to that place where you can approach those types of challenges with so much grace and understanding?
It takes practice. It takes practice. I by nature am a very aggressive person.
You?
Like, like
No.
I believe in saying whatever the you want to say.
Okay.
But
Joy
at the
Speight,
end,
everyone.
yeah. Hi, nice to meet you. But and it there. I realize though that it doesn't necessarily. You have to make the decision. Do you want to be right or do you want to make an impact?
Mm,
If you want
mhm.
to make an
Ooh,
impact, then perhaps coming out hot is not necessarily the best tactic. People
right.
can't swallow it, right? So then I had to realize, okay, pull that back. And it's trial and error. Pull that back. Can't say that their idea sucks. All right. So maybe I should say, um, perhaps let's look at it in this way.
Mhm,
And then
mhm.
and then and get them to agree with me, right? On the fact that
Uh-huh.
their plan sucks. I mean, it works sometimes. Sometimes it's like, no, I'm gonna dig my heels in, and my plan is great. And then you just got to let it fail, and then come back and clean it up.
Mhm.
But now I can charge you a premium because you wasted my time. And
And
when it comes down
time
to
is at
my
a
time,
premium.
yeah, when it comes down to my time, yeah, no, you got one time to make the mistake. That's it. Every other time I'm gonna charge you.
Let's dig into some of those. I don't want to call them mistakes.
Okay.
As it relates to our journey, when other people do it, it's a mistake. But when
Yeah.
we do it, it's a learning experience.
Right.
So let's talk about these learning experiences and growth opportunities. I know I've had some big growth opportunities
Yeah.
in my
You've been killing
career.
it. You've been killing it.
Well,
Nope. Mm-mm. Take it.
I received that.
Thank you.
See how she be coaching me?
Yeah. We got to stop apologizing or downplaying our growth. Own that. Own it. You did the work.
I received that.
Yeah, you did the work.
I have done a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been rocking with each other for almost 2 years, as we said, ever. There you go with this time again. But yeah, I mean, you see me not too long ago struggle busting.
Listen, I just need to put a pin there because this is my favorite Tivi story.
Oh God, I'm scared.
My favorite Tivi story is year 1 or 2 of us working together. Tivi was working on her business. She was working in her business, on her business. And about 6 months down the line, she said, "Hey, do you have some projects that you want to work on together?" And I'm like, anytime she calls me, hell yeah. And I was like, wait a minute. You had like 12 clients. I fired them. I didn't know that you could do that. Like, I didn't know you could fire a client. And every few years, I talk to Tivi, and she has fired a whole nother set of clients. And that taught me so much. One, that gave me so much respect for you because I was like, damn, you got to be a bad bitch to be able to be like, cut bait. This isn't working for me anymore. Versus me, who is a loyal bitch, like in Harlem Nights. I'm loyal and all my is loyal. We're loyal, right? We will rock with you until the end of the earth. And you can be totally wrong. And we're like, well, we gave it our all.
Here's the thing. I'll give that to you. I think there's a time and a place for loyalty. Yeah. But I appreciate the compliment that you're giving me. I didn't understand what I was doing back then. I just knew that something wasn't right with the clients that I had. But what I realize now is I had to be loyal to myself and my vision. And a lot of times I would take on clients and projects because I felt like I couldn't say no. I felt like I had to be grateful. I felt like, why would you say no to money when the opposite is no money? Like, know what no money is like. Don't you want to have money?
Right.
And so I didn't even know that was a thing back then myself. I just knew I was in a state of being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And it felt like I needed to change this thing in order to be comfortable. But what actually the major key in that really was that I was uncomfortable because I wasn't choosing myself. It wasn't the clients. It was how I was operating when I had those clients.
Where's the air horns? Where are the air horns?
I don't have it.
Yes. Exactly. And it's the greatest lesson that you've ever taught me. I should have fired a whole lot of people a long time ago.
Friends, family, clients,
men, all of them.
That's the Hey Awesome Girl show after dark when we talk about these. As my best friend says, these men's.
I need to be on that show too.
Well, speaking of men's or partners, let's talk about pleasure, ease, and abundance. And it can be whatever we want it to be. Let's just say that. Okay. My mission at Hey Awesome Girl is to help more women, especially women of color, have more pleasure, ease, and abundance in their life. How do you cultivate all of those things, some of those things in your life right now as a multi-passionate, multi-hyphenated serial entrepreneur?
Child, I suck at it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
And not in a fun way.
Man, listen, I'm realizing and I think mainly because of the pandemic, right? It used to be like, it was nothing for me to like pick up and hop on a plane and go somewhere and just do me. And people are like, you're always traveling. And then with the pandemic, I just kind of like laid that down because I was like, I don't know. And then I started seeing all my friends like, we out, you know? Um, and I then chose to double down and work.
Mm.
And so now we're going into year 3 of the pandemic. And I'm like, God, I probably, before it got so bad, I probably should have taken that time to like
But what's stopping
rejuvenate.
you? What's stopping you now? I mean, obviously
Well,
Omicron,
the
but
problem was, thank you for asking. I created yet not another business, but another job for myself. That I thought I was creating a business and I created a job. And
ooh,
I couldn't
hold
let the
up.
job go. Okay.
We
Yeah.
we gotta unpack that because that is a major key in
Yeah. Yeah.
entrepreneurship. We think we're being entrepreneurs. We think we're creating a business. And this is a lesson I'm continuing to learn. Like right now, today the clock still learning that
Mm-hmm.
there's a difference. Talk to me about the difference.
Yeah. So, baseline, every entrepreneur becomes an entrepreneur. 2 reasons. One, they feel good of the to be able to like focus in on their passion. 2, freedom. Freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of experience, freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you're going into your business, if you make a list of every single thing that has to be done in your business and you write beside it who is doing it, and you are on more than 3 of those tasks, that's a job. Only difference is you can't get fired from it because you're the boss.
Right,
So,
right. I wish
so
someone would fire me.
yeah, listen, I fire myself every day. But that's the reality is. That's the reality. If you can't walk away from your business and it continue to run and or you go to sleep and you're making money, it's a job. And that's okay for the first while you're in startup phase, right? First few years, okay. Everybody, most entrepreneurs are going to be in that phase, right? Until they really get their feet underneath them. But if you're getting to like 5 years and 7 years and 10 years of doing this exact same thing and your name is still at every single line, then it is a glorified job. And so that is the business has to be able to pay for itself and the business needs to be able to run by itself. It is just like you have a spirit, your business has a spirit. And if that spirit of your business is taking away from your spirit as a person, it is a job.
Ooh. Speechless.
Yeah, hand gestures. That's
I mean, I'm speechless because I absolutely I feel that, and I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs watching this gonna be like, "At me next time, Joy."
yeah.
Seriously. But going back to the idea of pleasure, ease, and abundance, like how do you get out of that?
Yeah, I'm actually working my way through now.
Okay.
And part of it, to be honest with you, is my largest project, which was opening up a venue in the middle of damn pandemic.
All right.
That I mean, we didn't know that was going to be happen. It happened
Right.
3 months after
And it
I
was
fired
still
myself,
successful, so
and it was still successful. But the amount of effort, money, and energy from me, my spirit,
mm-hmm.
giving to the spirit of the business, it was
Mm,
sucking me dry.
yeah.
And it got to a point where I just wasn't happy. Usually, when you come to one of our events, there are 2 things that I'm doing. One is either hiding in the corner, listening to people,
That's her.
or
Mm-hmm.
2, I'm out like talking to people and loving on them because that is what I love to do. I
Yeah.
am a nurturer, right? I love to love on people.
Yeah.
Well, when you get to your event and people are like, "Woo, you look tired," or Do you need help? Like, and I'm a master. Keep in mind,
Yeah.
like I'm a master at
Yeah.
events. So when
I
people start
know.
saying that, it's like, wait a minute, am I sacrificing the quality that everyone knows me for
Right.
quantity? And if so, I
Mm.
need to be able to balance that. And on top of that, you know what? I'm burning myself out for people who really don't give a damn about me. At the end of the day, I am literally overextending myself and I am literally burning myself down to the ground for someone else who does not appreciate and or value my effort.
Mm.
And that doesn't feel good to have it to be burned on both sides, right?
Right. Right.
So I had to make that decision, like in having that conversation with my business partner, to be like, why am I fighting for this? Why am
Mm.
I fighting to kill myself? I'm being
Sound
an
like you
asshole to
being an
myself.
asshole to yourself. Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck is that? Like literally,
Yeah.
I had to be like, wait a minute. I am fighting to burn myself out.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
No, like and
But that
literally,
realization is so powerful.
oh my gosh! And then to see, and it was actually another black woman in Charlotte who has a venue. She told me three things. She said,
Mm.
"Joy, don't ever give anyone a deal. Two, she said, make sure you stick, whatever your rules are, you stick to them. You stick to them because
Right.
I know how you are. You're going to want to like love on somebody and save somebody. Don't do that. And the
Mm-hmm.
third was make sure you get an alcohol license. Those were the three things she told me. Damn, if those two things she was not dead on. Every single person
Mm.
that had a negative review or stabbed me in my back, I helped. Helped.
Mm.
Either helped pay for the event or in some way, shape, or form, or helped plan the event. However, I helped them. Every person that I did, not every person, I would say a large number of the people that I did that for stabbed me in my back.
So what does it look like if you stop? This is going to sound bad. Not that you stop helping people, but
Woo,
stop overextending yourself. Like, why?
child.
This is the question. Why are you overextending yourself?
I have a giver's heart. I have a giver's heart. And you know what? I'm gonna tell you this, and because it's only when I get mad where I'm like, that. I'm not I'm not helping nobody else. It does not feel good to me to be in that space.
But
That
but
actually,
is a giver's heart an overgiver? Sounds like you're an overgiver.
I don't feel that. You know what I do feel though? I feel that I have a save a hoe complex.
Well, there you go, right there.
I have a save a hoe
Cause you
complex.
know them hoes don't want to be saved.
This is like I see a hoe, I want to save them. Like that ain't my job. That's Jesus's job. And like I have to realize I had to realize that that was not, and I actually had this conversation with a client who was like, you say you build communities, but you're not, you only about the money. And I was like, is that because you can't pay your bill? Because the only time you're having that conversation with me is when I'm coming to you like, you told me Monday, it's now Friday. Why I got to do that?
You know, I got a real problem with this because I hate when people weaponize the value exchange. It's a value exchange. I give you work in order for you to give me currency. Don't, when the currency is ready to be transferred, then flip the script like, oh, it's about the impact. Yes. And the agreement was the impact delivered was in exchange for this currency. Like, don't weaponize my money against me. Don't do it.
And you know what is, I'll be honest with you, what is the most disheartening thing in the world is for it to be somebody who looks like you. That to me is
Well, that's a
disheartening.
whole nother episode.
Whole nother episode, but it's very disheartening. And I think if we really start again having these hard conversations, because I'm all about having hard conversations with people, because I
Right.
seek to understand as well, right? Like
Right.
how what I did and or am doing,
Mm-hmm.
how is that I'm seeing it as a positive. You somehow see it as a negative. I need to understand where that difference is, right? So I
Mm,
like to have those types of conversations
yeah.
because it helps me understand. But we just got to get really honest about where we are in our process in any business, right? We have to get to the point where we're having those conversations with one another. And so that's why this is so pivotal, is because it's not a bad thing to have conflict. All it does is tell you what
Right.
you want on the back
Right.
end. Like it's just one end of a stick. And
Right.
so getting back to your initial point about abundance, I've started to change my perspective about abundance. Most
Okay.
people think about abundance in just monetary
Mm-hmm.
in a monetary capacity. There's an abundance of everything, right? There's an
Mm-hmm.
abundance of relationship. I have an abundance of relationship with Tivi, right?
Mm-hmm.
We cannot exchange $1, and literally, I find value in just the little moments that we connect. Versus an abundance of thought and ideas and being in a co-working space and being able to
Mm-hmm.
talk to people and collaborate. There is abundance all over the place. And so if we focus our energy on the abundance of life, right? And
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
all of its abundance, the money will come. And
Right.
so that's what I started to do in my businesses, is I did not focus in on metrics and
Mm-hmm.
data and dollar amounts and
Mm-hmm.
KPIs and all that other bullshit. I didn't. It's important
I
to
mean, it's
measure.
important, but
It's important to measure.
but
It
start with the
can't be.
start with the energetics, because you
Yes,
can't get the KPIs without the energetics first.
facts. And that's all. That's all it is. Is it's just once you get to a point where you have your secret sauce,
Mm-hmm.
then you go into the measurement of it, right? And how you can
Mm-hmm.
maximize your secret sauce. But that all of the KPIs, all of that stuff, metrics, data, critically important. But when you are really trying to create your business and in a way that supports your life, not the other way around, not
Mm.
you supporting your business, your business should support you. And in doing that, you have to be able to like think through what is the experience I want to have as the operator, as the technician, as the
Mm-hmm.
owner, as the stakeholder.
Mm-hmm.
Once you decide that and the energy around that, and you create that client experience, then you can add on the data points.
Yeah,
But it shouldn't come before, because then it's just
it
speculation.
can. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Would so when you think about giving advice to your younger self, the joy of 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, would that be the core piece of advice, or what would you say to your younger self?
I would probably say to my younger self, um, trust but verify.
Ooh. Ooh.
Trust but verify. Trust people to be themselves.
Mhm.
Also trust that you can see them as they are, right? So like if
Mhm.
you get a nudge in your stomach like I can't trust that person, you're probably right.
Yeah.
But then you also need to verify, right? Because it might just be your own biases that are informing that feeling and decision.
Mm.
And so in that case, then you verify. Hey, have you worked with so and so? What's been your experience? If they're, having worked with me, do you think that it's something that could work well or not? And people are going to be honest with you about their experience with whatever. But also keep in mind that you can't change people or
Mhm.
you just can't. So you have to trust. I am who I am. They are who they are. Is it something that we get to that common goal with those three layers, with the common
Mhm.
goal, the challenges, and then the communication. If we can do those
Mm-hmm.
three things very well, everything else will fall in line as it should. But trust but verify is, I've only been hurt by people. I've never been hurt by my business.
Mm. Well,
And that's because I
human
trusted
humans will
them.
human.
Verify. Yeah. Yeah. I trusted,
Yeah.
but I didn't trust my own gut as it related to
Mm.
whether they were my client, whether they were good, people to get in business with, whether they,
Yeah.
and
It's
it's
always us talking ourselves out of what we knew in the beginning, which is
right,
fine. Like we, and in all honesty, at least how I think about it, like I can't blame those people. I
right,
blame myself. Again, I was being an asshole to myself because I told me
right, right.
what it was, and then I was like, oh well,
Yeah, yeah. And
whatever reason.
the reality is that doesn't make them bad people. And once
Yeah,
you get to the point where it's like,
yeah,
oh,
that's
you're
true.
not a bad person. You just want what you want. You have your idea of how to get to the goal, which
Right,
I don't agree with.
right,
You're not a bad person. It's
right,
just that you ain't my person. And you know
and
what?
that's fine.
That's fine. We can agree to disagree and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And still add value to each other's lives, but from afar.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so
Everything don't
that's
have to be close up magic. Like it could be
but
far away.
it can be far away. But you understand how that's hard for me, the nurturer, the one that wants
I
to be like,
know.
get in my pocket. I
You
want
you gotta have more your pockets gotta be so full of your people that the other people that's not your people, they can't fit.
that is my lesson now. Yeah. Everybody does not deserve access to me. And so they're from here on out, they're not gonna get it.
Yeah.
You don't get to
I
benefit from me.
Yeah, and we don't reward bad behavior. That's what I always
Mm-mm,
say with kids, with adults, with
mm-mm,
everything. So
mm-mm.
let's look ahead. We covered a lot today around, building a successful business while community building, getting clear on your why. I loved what you said about connecting your mastery to your legacy. Um, we covered a lot. Let's have a little bit of a accountability section because this is very Tivi Joy right now. This accountability element. The pandemic has been rough, as I like to say, because obviously I work in COVID mitigation, equity around healthcare and all of that, and also entrepreneurial equity. As I like to say, Black and Brown people, we've been in a pandemic our whole lives, and we added this extra COVID pandemic on top of it. I think the next 12 months are a real opportunity for us to think about self care, to think about self mastery, to think like to just maybe do things differently. Are there any things that you're committing to? Like when you think about the next year of your life, why are you laughing?
Because I'm waiting for you to be like, bitch, I told you so. I'm waiting for it. As soon as it comes
Oh,
out my
cue
mouth,
me up. Cue me up. All right,
so
I don't put a question mark on it now. What you doing?
I am excited to finally be listening to Tivi Jones after 5 years, and I am creating my online course.
Oh, really? Where did you get that idea?
I told you I was waiting for it. 5 years ago, Tivi Jones, and I still have the notes from 5 years ago when Tivi Jones said, you should do this and you should do this. And I was just like, it's so overwhelming. And all of these experiences throughout the course of these past 2 years, what I realized is that one, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I no longer want to tie my dollars to my effort.
Mm.
I've done it. I've done
Mm.
it enough, and I'm tired
Tie it to
of
the value instead.
yeah. Yeah. And if I'm going to be tired, I need to be fulfilled at the same time, right? So,
And rich.
um, yeah, I need to look at my bank account and be like, that was worth it. And there's been a few times where I've been able to do that, and we do okay. Don't get me wrong, we do okay.
They do very well.
Yeah. Thank you, but we can do better.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had to ask myself, what is the thing that I really enjoy doing? What is it that I do well? Two things: build people, build relationships. And the tool is the events. And I couldn't see, because I worked so hard, I couldn't see how initially having a course of teaching people to work hard was beneficial. And now I
Mm.
see that it's not, the events are the tool. It's about building people and building experiences. And that is a transferable skill for any industry. And
Mm-hmm.
so there are people that find value in what, in my experience and access to me, that have been able to leverage these tools to build their business. And so who am I to keep it from them any longer? And so I am currently writing the content. I do have the deadlines.
Okay.
The first is going to be at the end of in February we'll do a series of webinars, and then we'll
Mm-hmm.
launch our course in March.
Okay.
And yeah, so it'll be able to take you from, especially on the event side, from being a hobbyist all the way down to having your own venue,
Mm-hmm.
and the things that you need to be thinking about, being made aware of, all with the core focus being to make an impact in your community.
I love that. And I'm happy you finally listened to me.
Yeah, I'll
But
call you
where
crying. I'll cry next week when I'm like firing myself, and I'll call you.
just FaceTime me. I got you. I got you.
Yes.
Where can folks find you online?
Great question. At Virtue Events, double E in the middle, S on the end. Um, that is the website as well, virtueevents.com. Or soon coming in February, there will be joyespeight.com. So you'll be able to find out a little bit more about what I do. What we're doing is restructuring everything and bringing everything in house in one funnel, because I realize people really don't know what I do. So joyespeight.com will be able to shed a little bit of light on that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Joy, for Hey Awesome Girl, our show.
Yay.
And Joy, I just want to say thank you so much again. I'm looking forward to your next 12 months and
Thanks.
2022.
2022. 2022. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you found some nuggets of wisdom from Joy or from myself. We talked about a lot of great things that I really loved. I always love getting clear on your why, and the point that Joy made on that was fantastic. Also, the idea of connecting your mastery to your legacy and key questions to ask yourself as an entrepreneur. It's really important for me and my business, for my team, for us to start with why, to get really clear on our mission, to get really clear on the impact that we want to have with the work that we do. And so I encourage you to think about that in your life. Even if you don't have your own business, what are you trying to achieve with this life of yours? What is your mission? What is your vision? And how can you operate every day with that mission and with that vision in mind? If you have answers to those questions, please consider sharing it with us in the comments or starting a conversation with us on social media. You can find us, we're Hey Awesome Girls with an S on all social media platforms. Once again, I'm Tivi Jones, founder and CEO of the creative studio Hey Awesome Girl. I'm recording from my home office with my adorable dog, below my chair. Hey Awesome Girls social mission is to celebrate and empower women, especially women of color. We believe that entrepreneurship, especially digital entrepreneurship, is a resource to increase competence, to close the racial and gender wealth gaps, and to provide a means of freedom for women all over the world. Because as we like to say, empowered women empower women. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with this show. Please stay tuned for our next episode. I'm super excited. There's so many amazing boss babes in our orbit, and I can't wait for you to meet them. Until then, please like this video, subscribe on all the networks we're on. Please leave a rating, review, or comment. And if you found this episode particularly helpful and it made you think of someone in your community, please consider sharing it with them. In the meantime, until our next episode, please visit our website, heyawesomegirl.com, to join our email list and to find a lot of extra goodies from me and my team. Bye for now, but don't forget to be awesome. So it's me again, just jumping back on to share a special resource with you. So I know I talk a lot about our pleasure, ease, and abundance framework that we use at Hey Awesome Girl, but maybe you aren't quite sure what that means and how you can incorporate that into your life. Well, we have a free resource for you that can help with that. It's our Pleasure, Ease, and Abundance playbook. In this playbook, I outline the 9 elements of pleasure, ease, and abundance you need to consider to help you create a life that is fun, fabulous, and free. I walk you through journal prompts, I share resources, and give you some actionable steps you can take to get you further away from stress, exhaustion, and being broke. To download this free playbook, go to heyawesomegirl.com/framework, enter your email address, and we'll send it right over to you. That's heyawesomegirl.com/framework to download your free playbook today.